What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of the G Show. This is an update on the American kidnap story in which the 4 Americans were kidnapped and 2 killed by the cartel. I have some developments. You can see my original video right before this one. I do have the video showing the kidnapping. It is graphic, so YouTube has placed the age restriction on that video. You need to be signed in and confirm that you are over the age of 18 to view that video if you want to see that footage. But here are the new developments in this story. So the first thing is there was another person killed. A local Mexican woman was also killed. I believe she was a mother of 4, I read. So that leaves a total of 3 were killed during this incident. 2 Americans and the local Mexican woman. The second most important development is there was a 5th person of the group. So originally, we just thought it was the 3 guys and the 1 lady, but there was another lady. The 5th member was another lady. However, she stayed back at the hotel because she did not have her ID to be able to make it back into the U.S. And right before from do this video, I just found out that she did an interview with CNN with Anderson Cooper. It looks to be about a 6-minute interview. But before I knew about the interview, I was going to be able to confirm that she was in the car with the group anyway, because one of the victims did a Facebook Live in which they were streaming during the road trip, and she was indeed inside the van with them. So I haven't had a chance to look at the CNN interview, but someone wrote some cliff notes, and this is what was said in the interview with CNN. So the interview was with a lady named Cheryl. The other lady named is Latavia. That's her best friend. She said Latavia never told her that she was going to Mexico for the surgery, but just asked her to come to Brownsville for surgery. So they were staying in Brownsville, which is not too far from the border. Once she got to Texas, that's when she found out about the surgery. She mentioned what hotel they were staying at. And since she didn't know she was going to Mexico, she didn't bring her ID. Now, just as a grown person, I'm sorry, this is a sidebar. As a grown person, if you're traveling, please carry ID. Just always carry ID. And when you go out, you should be carrying ID anyway. But especially if you're traveling, it don't matter if you think you're staying in the States or not. Please carry ID. Okay, back to the cliff notes. I think Anderson asked about the danger of the city, and they didn't know that it was dangerous. So once they realized she didn't have her ID, they dropped her off at the hotel, and they told her they'd be back in like 15 minutes because it's literally right over the border, the clinic that they were going to or whatever. So she said she showered, fell asleep, woke up at like 5 p.m. She went to the front desk to see if her friends ever came. And I guess that's when she found out they did not come, because she had been dropped there off that morning since about like 9ish. She called her boyfriend and Latavia's brother, told them something wasn't right. And then around about 10, a little after 10, the next morning before checkout is when she decided to call the cops. And she said she saw the video of the kidnapping between Saturday night and Sunday morning. Her friend Latavia's 18-year-old daughter helped her keep the faith and kept in touch with the daughter and was able to speak to Latavia. And she just wants the world to leave them alone, stop being mean. Said they need to have a heart. Everyone has a past. They didn't deserve this. Says Latavia told her thank you despite her being faced with death. She was worried about Cheryl. And yeah, so that was pretty much the clips from the interview. Like I said, I haven't viewed the interview. Those were clips that someone else had listed. That was other development. And then the other major development, this case is so interesting. The other major development, which apparently a lot of people are shocked by on social media, is the Gulf Cartel sent over an apology letter, and they have turned in 5 people responsible for the killings. Now, a lot of people on social media are shocked by this because, for one, when the cartel starts sending in apology letters, it was a handwritten letter. You can see the picture here. It was a handwritten letter, and you can see the picture of the 5 guys tied up and whatnot. So, like I said, a lot of people are shocked because, a lot of people are saying, well, when did the cartel start sending in apology letters? But I think the other reason people are shocked is because the cartel is admitting that this was on us. We did something wrong. And I think a lot of people thought the Americans did something wrong, aka thought it was a drug deal going wrong, and it was indeed not. It just wasn't. Just like I said in my previous video, the Americans were they were victims, and they were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. So here's a picture of the translation of the letter. I noticed they did not name the black victims like they did the Mexican victim. But anyway, the cartel is most likely sending this letter for mainly two reasons. They don't want all that heat on them. This incident was a bad look simply because it was caught on camera. You can see the footage in my previous video. Like I said, if you're interested, you would have to be signed in. And then second, they don't want Americans to stop coming to Mexico for vacation and medical procedures. Like, a lot of people go to Mexico for vacation. A lot of people go for medical procedure because it's cheaper there. The cartel makes money from tourism. So if people feel like they might not be safe, why would they want to travel to a country, you know? So I know I'm definitely in no rush to travel to Mexico, especially after this. So those are the two things. There's too much heat on them. They want to, get that heat off of them, make the story go away as quick as possible. And they don't want those tourism dollars to stop. So basically, this whole incident and the loss of 3 lives was bad for business. Hence, the letter and turning in 5 suspects. Plus, apparently, the U.S. had already knew a lot of information. So this was the best thing for the cartel to do, is to offer these 5 individuals. Say, here, we have did justice. Everything has been handled on our side. And they're hoping that the U.S. takes that and, don't continue to try to do more investigation or try to pressure them to do more. So, hopefully this ends all the media speculation. However, I still see people saying this isn't right. I guess it's hard to believe that Black Americans are innocent in a situation that justice is being served so quickly. Now, can we say for certain these are the individuals that committed the crime or not? We don't know that. These can be 5 fall guys they just went and randomly got. They can possibly not be the 5 that was actually there. I'm sure all 5 that actually did the kidnapping are not the ones that's in this picture. I'm pretty certain of that. Because one of them was more so a heavyset guy, and looking at these pictures, none of them look that heavyset like the guy in the video did. So I'm almost certain that not all the people, if any of them, that actually did the kidnapping are these 5 that are here. But, the cartel is trying to do something, I guess, which is weird. But like I said, hopefully this ends all the social media speculation. It is not going to, unfortunately, because now a couple of news outlets have went into the background of the victims. And I'm not going to get into the backgrounds of the victims into this case because it does not matter in this case because they were innocent and they just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. So their past absolutely has nothing to do with this particular situation. It was not a drug deal going on, and they were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Which I already said, it didn't make sense for it to be a drug deal, like I said in my previous video, because they had got shot shortly after they crossed over the border. And then when do you know anybody to leave a drug deal leave victims living? Especially the cartel that's so ruthless. Why would they leave anybody living if it was indeed a drug deal gone wrong? So that's just the common sense there. Now, I'm sure people, after they find out, the backgrounds, still think people had ulterior motives. And I don't know, who's to know? Until someone says, which they'll never say this, but until someone says that, we cannot assume that. You can have your theories, and 2 things can be true at once. It could definitely be that, she was going to get a procedure. Could it have possibly been that the other guys had ulterior motives? Possibly. We will never know. But the point is that the cartel has admitted wrong. These were victims, and you guys need to accept that. I forgot to mention, rest in peace to the victims, first and foremost. Just an unfortunate incident, unfortunately. If any more information comes out, I will definitely create another video. Because like I said, I do find this case to be very interesting. Just to see how things are developing. So if any more information comes out, I'll definitely have another video on this topic. Let me know your thoughts. Subscribe if you haven't already. And till next time. Later.